To the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiacos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I'm going to sign or no for Olympiacos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω ήρθα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα μαλάκα!
Σάγαπο πάρα πολύ, Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γάβρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί.
What's up, everyone? Gate 7 International back at it again. Transfer frenzy. A lot of stuff going on the last week, and Gus and I are getting into all of it today. But before we get into anything related to the transfer, just a couple of quick things. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Costa, happy Father's Day to you, buddy. Happy Father's Day to me. All the other fathers out there, the Greek fathers, red, white fathers, everybody out there. If you're a father or soon to be, happy Father's Day to you. Hope it is a wonderful day with family and it's relaxing. Costa, did you have a relaxing Father's Day?
Χρόνια πολλά ρε μάγκες όσοι είστε πατεράδες. I don't know how many people are dads following today, but anyway, happy Father's Day. Yeah, mate, chill. My family is actually in Greece. I'm going to go and join them next week in a couple of days, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that sounds fantastic, man. Charlotte, thank you so much. Hello, gents. Happy Father's Day. Thank you very much for the well wishes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, right after the show, Olympiacos DC has their quarterfinal match in UPSL. For those that don't know already, Olympiacos DC competes in 4th Division U.S. Soccer, and they are going to be going on right after our show ends, 6:30 Eastern. So if you're still awake and you're starved for some football, you can watch the boys play their quarterfinal match. We're hoping for some good things out of them and a division playoff win for them and more in the MLS Open Hunt Cup. Good stuff. We're pumped about that. Award show, guys, I don't know if you saw already. We posted it on our socials. We had over 10,000 votes for the award show. Guys, this is unprecedented. This wasn't 5 times or even 10 times bigger than last year. This is hundreds of times bigger and bigger than we ever thought was possible at this stage in the game. So thank you for everyone who voted. Unbelievable. I don't know. Do you have any other way to describe that, Costa?
I just want to say a lot of the traffic and a lot of the votes were on the Instagram platform, and I want to give a big shout out to Dionysis Verveles, the Red White account, Red Duckling account, Red Core, OSFP Zone, Erythrolifki.gr, like so many different pages that helped us to spread the word about this award and get people to vote in these 7 categories. So I'm immense. I think we're all immensely grateful for the support that we've received from the Olympiacos community. Absolutely exceeded everyone's expectations. We were in the hundreds of votes last year, and to get close to 10,000, a bit more this year, is just insane. And it shows that people are buying in, and this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring Olympiacos fans from all over the world together. And yeah, I think we're all really humbled and just amazed at the response that we got for those votes. So keep it locked. Make sure you subscribe, because the results are going to be announced on the show, and the results will be coming out around beginning of July, guys. A bit more patience. We've got something good coming up. Don't miss out.
We definitely do have something fun coming up with that, guys. So definitely keep your eyes on socials. Keep track of that. You do not want to miss that award show. And like Costa said, it's really amazing. I feel the more I say this, the dumber I feel, because when we first started this project, I always say I didn't even know if we could get 10 to 20 people to listen to this. And here we go. We had almost 10,000 people voting in a poll for this. It's unbelievable. Moving on, there were some other big things happening in the Olympiacos world. The domestic double secured by the red and white in basketball. Huge stuff, Costa. I'm not a huge basketball guy. I can't speak to all of this. I think you're the better one to talk about the history, the context of it all. Go for it for those that maybe don't understand.
Dude, I know that everyone's itching for us to talk about transfers, but honestly, like, you're right. We can't not say a word about the basketball team. I mean, after 2.5 years or whatever it is that Olympiacos basketball team has been out of the Greek league, to come back this year and complete the domestic double after 25 years. We hadn't done a domestic double for something like 25 years, I heard it was the other day. That's a long time for Olympiacos, and just everything about this team has been absolutely amazing this year. It's I've said it before, it's been everything that the football team wasn't this last year. It's really been a team, a unit. Everyone knows their role. Everyone gives everything. And to complete it with a sweep, 3-0 against our arch rivals. Yeah, they're in bad shape. Who gives a shit? Like, after such a long time, and, you know, Mechritelous, after the whole leaving the Greek basketball league and coming back and, you know, announcing our return to Greek domestic competitions in that way is unbelievable. And of course, Yorgos Pridezis announced what we were all expecting, and yeah, he's retiring. What a way to go out for him. And anybody that watched the fiesta afterwards, and, you know, the ceremony, lifting the cup, and saw the video Olympiacos Basketball Club put up on YouTube of the celebrations at the nightclub with Nikos Konomopoulos and all that, it was you can really see the togetherness of the team. And there's one thing I'll finish on. If you watch the video on Olympiacos BC's channel, there's a scene where, like, Pridezis is playing the bouzouki, and then he plays really, really well. Papanikolaou's dancing around, and then he gives a microphone to Slukas, and he grabs Thomas Walkup, and he just grabs him around the shoulder, and he says, "Πού θα τα βρεις όλα αυτά?" Like, where are you going to find this? He says it to him in Greek. "Πού θα τα βρεις όλα αυτά?" And it's amazing. And you just, like, Thomas Walkup, one of my favorites this year. If he stays fit, I think he's one of those players that will stay forever. Like, what a fantastic player. Anyway, do you know what? Like, we should get the Red Point Guard guys on for a bit of a celebratory podcast. So I'll stop there on the basketball. But big congratulations, and thank you is not enough to this team and to our captain. Pridezis, the year after Spanoulis retires, another legend goes out, and in spite of that, we're very optimistic about what the future holds.
Definitely. And this team made me watch more basketball this year than I have in my whole life. And I plan on watching more next season. It's getting me interested. I was able to watch it with Nova Sports, so I'll watch it again next year. I don't know anything about basketball, but I'm going to get into it because it's red and white. Costa, everybody is already chiming in with the transfer news and rumors, so we're going to jump into it. But before we do, guys, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, hit that like and subscribe button. The more likes we get, the more interactions and engagements, the more the algorithm boosts this, and the more the other red and white community that hasn't really yet found out about us will find us. The more likely they'll be able to find us, the bigger the community gets. So continue to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and help us continue to build this red and white community. These comments are hilarious. Everybody's already getting into it. So let's get started, Costa. The first news is we've got 3 big renewals that just happened. Youssef El Arabi, Matteo Valbuena, and of course, Avram Papadopoulos. 3 renewals. El Arabi's was a 2-year renewal. Valbuena's is a 1-year. Avram Papadopoulos is a 1-year. El Arabi's reported salary, as its guest, is about $2 million with a 1-year bonus per year. Valbuena's reported wage wasn't exact, but he's apparently taking a reduced wage, and there's been a lot of discussion about a future position at the club. And Avram Papadopoulos was noted to have been a signing for the locker room. So how do you feel about those renewals, Costa? I know you expected them. You talked a lot about the Youssef El Arabi renewal as well. I agree with you there, especially given what's been going on with the back room and all the chaos over the transfers. I think you have to lock up something consistent. But how about the other two?
Look, very quickly, I think it's important to have experience in the team. Like all of those players, all three of them have given a lot to the club. Papadopoulos, not only in this stint, but before, that is more of a backroom thing to have him in the dressing room.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how El Arabi does this season with a full preseason behind him. I don't want to go into it too much because we've talked about it already a few times. And then Valbuena, the same. I think, for 10, 15 minutes to come on in Greece to take a set piece. And I mean, generally the guy, he gives everything whenever he comes on. That's something that you just cannot fault him for. He gives everything that he's got. He's a model professional, and I think he's a role model for anyone at the club in terms of the way he performs on the pitch, and not just on the pitch, in the training ground as well. So it's nice. It's really good to have those pieces there. Doesn't mean that we don't need transfers though. We need to make a lot of transfers, and that's a nice little segue into the next segment.
Yep. So we're going to get right into the transfer rumors, guys. The latest, the stuff that's breaking. Deep dives will be coming soon. Some of you have DM'd me already asking about Vrsaljko, Scarpa, things like that. When they sign, the deep dives will drop. I've taken a cursory look out of everybody that's been a hot rumor. But the deep dives will come out when the signings come. I promise you. And I've got some other changes to the deep dives coming up that I think you guys might like. A couple surprises for you, but they will be coming. So let's get into the first one, Costa. Šime Vrsaljko, Croatian right back from Atletico Madrid. His contract runs out in about 10 to 11 days. He's been reported to have flown out to see Reddy and some of the facilities. Am I mistaken with that?
So the reports are that on Thursday he came to Athens. Marinakis sent out a private jet to pick him up, his wife, his family, his agents. I think it was about 5 or 6 people on the plane. He brought them over. They met with Marinakis. They went to Reddy. He saw the facilities. He was very impressed, as usual. Foreign players that come to Olympiacos, Greek club, Greek league. They don't expect to see the facilities that we have. He's very impressed. He's played at the stadium before as a Croatian international back in 2017, I think, when the Croatians knocked us out of international competition.
Yep.
So the reports are that he shook hands with Marinakis and that there's a verbal agreement. So there's no pen to paper right now. But there has been a frenzy in Greece that this is the first big signing of the season in a position that we have that we really need to bring someone in. At the moment, we're training with Thanasis Androutsos and Yannis Masouras as right backs in training. Androutsos, the coach, said before the end of last season that then don't υπολογίζω, like he's not in my plans anymore. And Yannis Masouras, he never sees him the last 2 seasons that he's been going to pre-season camp. So we need 2 right backs, and Šime Vrsaljko is the number 1 choice, it seems. Free agent from Atletico Madrid, bags of experience. I think he would, Cholo Simeone had him in his team for so many years. So that says a lot.
It does. It really does. And you already had a brief discussion about him on the last show when you kind of talked about him as a name and what he brings to the table briefly. No.
Wait, on the last show, we were talking about, so the last live I did alone, I think I was talking about Baldock. And I said that there are so many names out in the media. I bet you, the ones listening, I bet you the first one that comes to sign, or the ones that will materialize, are names that we've never heard before until now.
That's right. You did. That's right. You did say that. And this is one.
And then boom, this one.
And then boom, he
came
out. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're 100% right about that. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that. He did come out of nowhere. And there's already, I see Sparos already asking, is he good? If he signs guys, which it seems like everybody in Greece is saying he will, the deep dive will be ready as soon as he signs. We'll drop that. You'll see what's there to like, what he has to offer the team. But most people have seen at least a piece of him already from his time at Atletico Madrid. An exciting player for Olympiacos to have. And these are the kind of the caliber signings that we want to see brought at Olympiacos. A player like this that has major European experience and, you know, a guy that really can do something for us and that is more of a warrior. Look at this comment from Viper3 here. Martin should watch your deep dives before signing anyone. Example, Onyekuru. Yeah, he's not the only one, but I think he was hoping more for the positive thing, the small positive things. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But I hope you guys like the deep dives that come out. Like I said, I've got some surprises this time for you. I hope you guys like it. But yeah, Vrsaljko, hope if that happens, assuming it does, it's a huge thing for us, I believe.
Can you give the listeners a bit of a preview in terms of what you've seen? I remember the player from games that I've watched him, just an absolute beast defensively. Going forward, it's kind of like a poor man's Rafinha, if you will. Like he's decent on the ball, but he's not the type of right back that will bomb up and down the wing and give you width and overlaps. But defensively, I think this is more of a signing, you know, of intent when it comes to European competition. In Greece, again, he has so much experience that I would believe tactically, you know, if the coach tells him overlap, give us width, he'll do it. But he's not the one that will kind of give you what Omar did. And so just get Omar out your heads. And this is a different type of player.
Exactly, Costa. And without going into details, I will give you guys a player that actually in group chat, Costa made this parallel. And I think it's about as close as we can get to a parallel to a player. There's a lot of context with that, though. So if a signing happens, I'll get into all of that for the deep dive. But he's much closer to a Torosidis than an Omar or a Tsimikas, for that matter, in terms of the mold of fullback. But we'll get into that when he signs. I'll have plenty of stuff for you guys, data, plenty of film. I've already watched a little bit on him, so we've gotten the cursory look at him. But if he signs, you'll get the full experience.
You were saying he gets goals too, Ari, right?
Yes, he is actually a funny goal threat. It's interesting.
Wait for the deep dive.
Another fullback.
Wait
for the deep dive, boys. A little teaser. We got more for you. If
subscribe and don't miss it.
Absolutely. Moving on from Vrsaljko, though, we also have a huge name that we had put on Instagram earlier, well, our socials, I should say. Scarpa, Gustavo Scarpa. Costa, how about that?
Well, do you know what? Looking at Vrsaljko and Zinckernagel, our friend Doron Tour, Nottingham Forest fan, check out his channel to keep up to date with everything going on at Forest. If you're interested and if you can keep up with his accent, I'm just playing Dor. But those two players, the thing they have in common is that they're workhorses. They have really high determination. They give everything on the fields. Scarpa is the one that will get the crowd going. The flair player. 28 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Left-footed. He's played in Brazil all his career. He's won the Copa Libertadores twice back-to-back in recent seasons. And he's out of contract in December. And now I'm not going to pretend I know a hell of a lot about this player. Do you know what? We should give Zé Elias a call or Dudu and ask them about him if this gets serious so we can get some insight. Or maybe Luciano knows a bit about him. We can ask these guys that we've talked to on the show before. And here's a shameless plug. If you haven't watched the Luciano interview, the Dudu interviews, Zé Elias, they're all on the playlist on the channel. You can watch them whenever you want. Those are wicked interviews. The Luciano one is in Greek. The other two are in English. But Ari, I don't know if you've read the latest here with regards to Scarpa. I can go deeper.
Yeah, I just wanted to address this comment with Sparo. Scarpa will be expensive for us. No thanks. Costa, is that the case?
So here's the deal. So his contract's up in December, and his market valuation is around 8 to 9 million euros. So pricey market valuation, but again, this is a player that in a month's time he'll be able to negotiate with any club of his choosing and join them in January, 1st of January. So the deal is the following, and this was reported by Adonis Economidis at Sport 24. Basically, what he said is that Olympiacos has been talking with Scarpa for about a month now, and that we've managed to get the green light from the player. So the player wants to come to Greece. This is per Adonis Economidis' report on Sport 24. Now, the thing is, apparently Palmeiras were willing to let him go for a small fee, around 1 million euro is what's been cited in the press, which is unbelievable bargain. But recently, the manager of Palmeiras, Abel Ferreira, former PAOK manager, some of you will remember, he's trying to get the player to stay and renew his contract. He's even apparently said to Scarpa, per the reports, that the Greek league is below your level, you shouldn't go there, etc. Again, by all reports, Scarpa is convinced he wants to make the move to come to Europe. He's never played in Europe. He sees Olympiacos as a good first door into European competition. So where are we now? Palmeiras is trying to get him to renew. Scarpa is asking for a meeting with the board to let him go and join us. So that's where we are right now. As always with Brazilian players coming straight from Brazil, these things take time, and the last few Brazilians that we've tried to bring in from Brazil, they didn't work out. I think the last one I can really remember that lasted protracted period of time was Willian Arau from Flamengo. That didn't go through. Let's see. But again, I don't know the player very well. I want to learn more. But it looks like a very, very interesting player.
He does look very interesting. And like I said, I've taken a cursory look. Anybody that's a serious rumor, I take a look at. And I'll say this, he's a type of player that I hope I get to do a deep dive on. I'll just say that. A lot of exciting stuff for me, or the stuff that I like to see, I like to watch, is what he seems to offer. So we'll see what happens, and we'll keep up to date with that.
No, I did not say 89 million. I said 8 or 9 million. Bloody hell. People in the chat going crazy.
I think George also had another one up here. We'll get into this, but Ari fears Pipa. I guess it depends on the Pipa.
Oh God. No. Okay. Labro asked me to play this. I don't know if you can hear it. Wait, let's see. Oh no, this is the wrong one. I need to find. There's a video of Nikolakopoulos going Pipa, Pipa, Pipa on the radio. I need to find it. Sorry.
Well, while you're looking for that, we'll go on to the next one. Philip Zinckernagel. Did I say that correct? Zinckernagel. Sorry, the attacking mid / winger that played for Nottingham Forest and played a huge part in them getting promoted to the Premier League. 50 appearances, had 7 goals, 10 assists, and there was a nice exclusive done by Arcostas Llanos about Watford being willing to sell him to Olympiacos, and the price tag isn't even that high. He's not in their plans, and they would like to move him on, which is kind of what you can read in between the lines there. But he was seen by everyone as a key contributor for the campaign, and he is a warrior, a workhorse and a warrior in that spot. He played kind of on the wing like inside winger sort of for them as well, and can play behind the striker, whether he's playing behind 1 or 2. So that's also a very interesting rumor for us as well, especially given that we've let Kostas Fortounis go. We didn't re-sign Rony Lopez. So now we're bringing somebody else in this attacking mid 10-ish position that we don't seem to really want to use, but we're bringing them in anyway. Costa, how do you feel about Philip?
He's an interesting player. Like I said, he has a very high work ethic. He's been in 2 teams that have been promoted to the Premier League the last 2 seasons. So he was part of the Watford team that made it back up to the Premier League. And then, so he's owned by Watford, let's be clear about that. And Watford loaned him the season that just passed to Nottingham Forest. He's promoted with Nottingham Forest. Now he's back to Watford, who have gone from the Premier League back down to the Championship. So Zinckernagel wants out. He's in a team that keeps, shipping him off. Now they're back in the Championship. I think he wants to move. For those of you that are on Instagram, and there's been this whole thing today, like he followed Olympiacos on Instagram, then he unfollowed. Again, not really a player that I've seen play more than 2-3 times. But a lot of people have been asking, is he a winger? Because it's been reported that we're looking at him as a winger. And this is a player that last season, essentially, he played as a central attacking midfielder. Nottingham Forest played with 3 at the back quite often last season. And Zinckernagel would be the one behind the 2 up front. Or if they ever played a 3-4-3, you'd kind of see him getting the ball a little bit, kind of like the spaces that Fortounis would occupy when he'd play on the wing, like close to the box on the left-hand side, and he'd try and make things happen from outside the box. He's good at getting into the box as well. So at the risk of, saying something that Olympiacos fans will find sacrilegious, he's a Danish Fortounis, but with work ethic. Not as talented when it comes to the things Fortounis does, the creativity, etc. But he's an all-around player. He's very good at what he does on the pitch.
Yeah. The cursory look I've taken at him, the closest thing that's Olympiacos related that I can think about when I watch him play is like a David Fuster. Maybe not the fanciest player you've ever seen. A lot of hustle.
Right.
So he's a player that you'll love. I really do, because of the effort that he puts on the field. I mean, if the guy can boss it around in terms of his physicality in the Championship, that says a lot about you as a player. And that's something that is there to like. So I think he does have something he can offer this team. He did play, you're 100% right. He played primarily as an attacking mid, as a number 10, behind 1 striker or 2 strikers. But they did play him sometimes a little bit on the right or sometimes a little bit on the left. So we'll see what the actual end goal is if he does sign, where he ends up. But that's the context for where we've seen him play going forward. But exactly how Costa described it.
There's a question here from George Bushik. So Zink will be our cam and Scarpa our winger. First, let's see if they sign. But the way I see it, it looks like Gustavo Scarpa will be the 10 that can play on the wing as well.
Right.
And Zink predominantly as a right winger, I would think. But I would say those players can interchange as well. If you've got, for the sake of argument, let's say you've got Masouras, Scarpa, and Zinckernagel as the 3 behind the striker. Those are all players that can interchange with each other in a formation where we play 4-2-3-1. But also, I think Zinckernagel and Scarpa can both play on the wings as well when we play with 3 up front, when we go 4-3-3.
It's going to be an interesting situation, because Scarpa, like Zinckernagel, also primarily played in the 10. But when he wasn't playing in the actual 10 position, based on the heat mapping available from Y-Scout, he's primarily on the left side. So the curious thing for me, let's assume we bring Scarpa and Zinckernagel in. If Scarpa can play on that left side or as a 10, what then happens to Masouras? Because Masouras plays on that left side. Unless Scarpa can play up and down, maybe he can play a little bit as an 8. I see Lifer828 saying he plays as an 8. There is some context for that. There's 2 games here that I pulled up where he covers the ground, a lot more ground, like an 8. That's curious. But we'll see what happens. They're talented players. They both seem like they have something to offer us, at the very least in Greece. But yeah, Ghost, I think we just need to get to the other one because everybody, the comments, the chats are talking about the last player we haven't covered.
Everyone's talking about Pipes. But, I'm sorry, what? Anyway, I just want to bring this comment up. Andreas is saying Zink is a winger, guys. He played 10 for Nottingham because that's what I was saying. So on paper, you look on Transfermarkt, you look wherever, he's listed as a right winger as his dominant position. But he talked to any Nottingham fans, they'll tell you he played predominantly as a cam for them. This season. Yasumano, we talked about Vrsaljko a little bit in the beginning. We were just very, very quickly, you can go back and listen to that, but more of a defensive warrior. Don't expect Omar-like overlapping, but you can go back and have a listen. And also Ari promised he's going to have deep dive scouting report when he signs. He's already looked into that, so it's something to look forward to. All right, do we really want to talk about this Pipa guy? Okay, because everyone's going off with the Pipa jokes, so hopefully you can hear this. I'm just gonna play it. I found the clip that I put up on Instagram.
Είναι μέσα στο γνωστός και ως Πίπα. Οκ, Κωστά μου. Ναι, είναι Πίπα. Οκ, Κωστά μου. Ναι.
There you go. Get it out of your system.
There's comments in here. Who had the comment? They said if he puts Pipa on the jersey, they're buying 10 jerseys. There's no way in Greece they're gonna let him put that on the jersey. They're gonna put Gordon on it or something. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I can't see that happening. If they let the jersey sale in Greece happen like that, I'm buying a jersey and I'm wearing it on every show.
If I'm a journalist, you know, if they were like presented to the crowd at a press conference, my question to him, what name are you going to put on the back of your shirt?
100%. 100%. Unbelievable. And just to be clear, guys, he's also a right back, but this is the right back that's been reported as the backup. So Vrsaljko is going to be the starter. He was the backup, which then indicates that Adroutsos and Yannis Masouras, to me, don't have a place going forward on the team. They were just training as placeholders. That's how I look at that. And I think that's how it always was going to be.
Yeah. No, but it's clear, like we needed 2 right backs. Coach doesn't look at these players. Masouras. It would be, I'm sorry, like I don't mean to be nasty to anyone. It would be a joke if he takes Androutsos to training after what he said. Not me. He's the one that said, I don't. He's not in my plans.
Yeah,
it wasn't in his plans. And then Vrsaljko, all of a sudden, you know, we said, you know, we're going to make Vrsaljko right back. Then Vrsaljko wasn't good enough as right back, according to the coach, and we saw Androutsos back in the lineup. So at this stage, I won't be surprised to see Androutsos go to Austria.
Yeah.
But hopefully, the way it's looking now, all right, this guy, Pipa, Avila, whatever we're going to call him, should all get it out of our system because he's coming tomorrow, or he's in Greece already, according to some Italian reports. He's already in Greece. He's passed the medical. We'll be signing. So that's 2 right backs there. Vrsaljko, knock on wood, that deal goes through. He signs. We'll be in Austria. We'll have our 2 right backs.
Yep. And the comment from River, imagine the Greek sport newspaper's front page if he scores, he being Pipa. Amazing. Yeah. Everybody, I think, has a chance to get it. Oh, Mike Scobb right here. We can have wind up Pipa also in the interview.
Yeah.
Okay,
like,
guys.
Just to look at his stats, like he got injured this year and he didn't play many games, played 17 matches, got 2 assists. Wasn't really a starter. I think he's 13% of all his appearances were starting. So that's not a great deal. He's 24 years of age. And here's a stat that's quite interesting. His height, he's 176. So he's not the tallest.
Not at all.
He's not the tallest.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, if he does sign, which by all reports, chat made us Chat has been saying it. Cissé confirmed it. We saw earlier on today that there were reports in Spanish media that he had already gone through his first round of medicals. So when the signing does happen, I will even have a deep dive on him. It'll be the Pipa deep dive, I guess.
Just very quickly, because I don't think we mentioned it, because we've all been caught up in this Pipa stuff. We've got to stop laughing. So Vasily Pipa played for Huddersfield. He's played for Huddersfield the last couple of seasons. He's Spanish, 24 years of age. He's come from Gimnástica in Spain. He played for Espanyol for a while. And Huddersfield, just to give you guys an idea, for those of you that don't know, Huddersfield got to the playoffs of the championship. So they got to the final against Nottingham Forest, and it was Huddersfield that fought it out with Forest to go back up to the Premier League. I think he even played in that final as well. So to be seen.
There you go. Now, along with some of the transfer rumors, there's also been some rumors for Costa. I just saw your face. I know what you just saw. And I'm just going to put it up here because I couldn't do it either. Mike
this show is not for young people, underage.
we look. I put on all the episodes that this is not for kids. Mike Scobb named the deep dive.
No, don't read it out. Whoever's watching can watch it. Don't read it out. Jesus.
Okay, there's been two big departure rumors as well. That are on the horizon. Two players that look like they're going to be the first players to be sold for the summer transfer window. The first one is none other than Ruben Semedo. There's been a lot of reports that George Jesus is a huge fan of his over at Fenerbahce, wants to bring him in. And then there were also some reports we saw by Saudi Arabian media that there are teams in Saudi Arabia that are willing to offer him $7 to $8 million per season. Absurd money. That's about the current exchange rate, I think it's about seven and a quarter million euros, I think, a season. Absurd money to get him over there. Even if that is wrong and it's actually in the real, it's still looking about 2.5 million euros in the Saudi real. He's looking to get a lot of money in the Middle East, so we can finally have that payroll off of our budget, we'll say. So we'll see how that goes.
People are asking for the Nikolakopoulos soundbite again. Stick around, and when we finish this segment, I'll play it again. Okay, and Manu, I'll send it to you afterwards. I know. I think I listened to it about 50 times by myself when I edited the video clip. So yeah, I'll play it again afterwards. Jesus Christ. People are going crazy.
People are going more crazy about a backup right back than anything else since we've started this show. But in terms of the supposed fee, there's been people that have DM'd each of us personally and DM'd the pod account asking about what kind of fee we would get from Semedo. Guys, temper your expectations. Every team knows the situation we're in with Semedo, and everyone's going to take advantage of it. They're going to offer him a lot of money, and we're not going to get much, if at all, in terms of a transfer fee for him, no matter who wants him. So just bear that in mind. We're not going to, if we get what we paid for him, we should count ourselves lucky. And that's going to be about that for Ruben Semedo.
Honestly, man, if we can recoup the money that we spent on him, I think it was 4.5 million.
Yeah, that's correct. 4.5 million.
Just get rid. Like,
that's it.
I'm kind of doubting that we will even get that money, to be honest. But even if it's like maybe $1 million, we need to just get rid.
We do. We have no plans to bring him back, and it's not like he's cheap anymore. Remember, he got the contract extension that saw a big payroll increase for him. So we need to get that off the books. We need to move him on. And when you're dealing with a lot of these, clubs from the Middle East like Saudi Arabia or Dubai, these guys don't like to pay big transfer fees. Oh, here we go again.
Okay, I'm going to read part of this comment. So River saying, again, we're back to the issue of the right back. Imagine the Karaiskaki announcer when he reads out the first 11 and Gonzalo Avila, also known as, What are they going to say? What are they going to say? They're probably going to say his full name.
They're going to say his full name. They're going to call him Gonzalo Avila Gordon. That's what they're going to call him. Back on the departures, guys. The second departure is one that's going to be a little bit more heart-wrenching for us, even though we all kind of expect him to move on, and that is Juan Papeabu Cissé. He's on the radar of multiple teams in France and in England. Nice and Stadio Rennais are looking at him, as well as Brighton and Watford. So we had mentioned on socials, Brighton sold Juan Bissouma for 25 million pounds, correct? So they've got money to spend, and he's definitely somebody that's ready for the Premier League. He seems exactly what a Premier League team would want, especially a mid-table team, mid or low-table team. So he was our MVP, the most valuable play. Well, an MVP candidate, I should say. And in terms of his performances, and certainly a player deserving of a transfer, the one that we could get the most value out of, if that makes sense, based on how he played. Not many players we can say that for guys from Olympiacos, so it shouldn't surprise anybody that Cissé is going to be sold.
Yeah, I think he's the only player in our squad right now that can bring big money, like realistically. Like people will say Aguibu, maybe. Yeah. But I think the dip that he had in the second half of the season probably has some clubs thinking twice. I think it would be good for him if he stays another season. Again, like with a full preseason behind him and no distractions, I think he can really take off. But Cissé's been with us 6 years, man.
Yeah, long time.
He's 26 years of age. Or I think I read that earlier and I couldn't believe it. Like, he still, gives off the vibe that he's a very young man. I mean, yeah, okay, he's 26, he's still very young, but I think he's shown that if and when he's concentrated, he's a top defender. And he could do well in the Premier League. I saw that Everton are interested as well, apparently. So it's not just, is it Brighton, the other team, that are interested in the Premier League? I honestly think this is the only player, again, in our squad that can really command a high fee in terms of transfer. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do sell him. The thing is, if we do sell him, we need to bring someone in. And they keep asking on the radio and on, shows, is Olympiacos looking for a centre-back? And the answer is always like, no, Olympiacos has, 6-7 centre-backs, which we do. Like, we have Manolas, Papastathopoulos, Cissé, Ba, Avram, Bagalianis, Kinkue. Those are just 7 that I counted there. Bagalianis is training with the first team.
I was going to say Kalogerakos or
Kalogeropoulos.
Kalogeropoulos, my God.
Kalogeropoulos, as we call him last season.
So, because he actually has had some first team minutes, not many, but he's had some first team minutes over the course of the last season and a half. So we do have some, but from Aguilos Guts here, this is the question. Adrian Costa, any players on your mind for replacement for Cissé? Forget what Costa and I want. I think the fact that we haven't heard any transfers or that there's any rumors for the center back position, I think speaks a lot in and of itself, whether it's on Cissé leaving or whether or not we're looking. But as we've seen already, this Vrsaljko thing came out of nowhere. So maybe the same thing would happen with the center back if Cissé leaves.
You know what? I think the answer to Aguilas' question is in Manos' question. And Manos asked, what are the expectations for Manolas this year? Because he came as a bomb, but nothing more since then. So a fit Manolas, for me, replaces Cissé. They have similar...
Yeah.
A fit Manolas replaces Cissé for me in terms of, the strength that he has, the aerial prowess, the pace. That's what we expect from Manolas. Okay, we don't expect him to be as fast as he was before we sold him. It's like, yeah, he's older than when he left. But honestly, I expect Manolas to work harder than hard this preseason, to lose weight and get fit. I see some of his pictures in training these days. I'm like, I don't know what's happened to him. Like he doesn't look fit to me. And if he can stay fit, then for me he replaces Cissé. But do we gamble with that? I'm not sure. And what about Bar? Can it be different for him this season? Don't forget he had that horrible back injury.
Yeah,
he had surgery, and that's something that takes time to recover from. Maybe he's better this year. And Magallanes, by the way, like I said, the beginning of last season, after a couple of games that I watched the B team, he was one of the prospects on the team that could play first team football for us. And there were reports at the end of last season that he's passed Ousseynou Bar in the pecking order. Let's see. There are friendly starting guys in a couple of days on the 22nd. Need I remind you, the team's going away to Austria, and I think the first preseason game is on the 24th. So we'll see Magallanes and everybody else in those preseason games as well. But again, I think it would potentially be a bit of a gamble to just leave the team as is if we do sell Cissé. Again, guys, 19th of June. We have until the end of August and then some to get transfers in.
Yep, and we've already seen how much can change within the course of a few days. So a lot can happen. Just be patient, and as soon as we get information, we'll get it out to you guys, just like we always have. Another question here from Yorgos Pop. What about left back? Will we stick with Oleg this season as well? I think we need a Vrsaljko level transfer to that position as well. Well, Yorgo, the latest was that we were comfortable with Oleg there, and I guess Kitsos. I don't know if we're bringing in another left back, but it doesn't look like at the moment that anything is on the books for a left back transfer.
Yeah. I think, we have Reabchuk, we have Apostolopoulos, and we have Kitsos training right now.
Yep.
Oleg has been playing non-stop. He played, I think, four games with the Moldovan team, and I read that international players are joining up with the team tomorrow already. He's had very little rest. The guy is a machine. We all know that. I do still think that he can improve. How much and how quickly, I'm not sure. Yes, ideally, I would love for us to bring in a world-class or a close to that level left back, somebody that can cross the ball. Gudris, thank you, Shelby99. Gudris is back as well. Let's see how Gudris is in pre-season. But, Kitsos, I think Kitsos should get loaned, man. I think Kitsos should get a loan just like Tsimikas did.
Yep.
Because he's not gonna get enough games with us, I feel. And I see that the manager has a really hard time trusting young players to really put them in the team. Feel free to call me out. But besides Agibu, I can't really think in terms of young players that he's really kind of bedded into the team since he joined.
Technically, Radejevic had just turned 21 when he was throwing him in a season and a half ago.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
But other than that, I can't think of anybody else that he really went out on a limb for. Madi was, when he started playing Madi more, Madi, I think he was young 20s, but he was not really, I think he was 22 when he first started really using him. But other than that, I can't think of any other young guys like that he really trusted in a starting role or in that starting position. I mean, you probably could make the argument for Adroutsos, right? Last season, how old was Adroutsos last season? 23, 22? Or is he older than that?
Bloody hell, mate! I think he's older. Let me check.
I can't remember how old Adroutsos is. He's escaping me.
Adroutsos is 25.
Forget about it. Yeah. Doesn't count. He's old. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, at the very least, he's going to see. It seems like he's going to give everybody a shot at training. Whatever happens. And then people will move on that he doesn't like. There's a question here, Costa, about here it is from Der Profidiga, Who is the winger from the Premier League guys, the Brazilian?
I don't recall that we were looking at a Brazilian player specifically from the Premier League.
I thought it was two different things. I thought it was
We're-
I thought it was a winger from the Premier League and a Brazilian.
Yeah, exactly. So the reports were that exactly we were looking at a Premier League winger and a Brazilian that plays the 8 and 10. That's what the reports were. So we talked about that earlier already. We talked about Gustavo Scarpa if you joined late. We talked about Philip Zinckernagel from Watford, played for Forest last season. If you missed that, you can go back and have a listen to it, buddy. What else we got? Somebody was asking about the winger from Real Madrid, Dibi Keita.
Yeah,
I think is who you were mentioning. I can't find the comment in the chat. Dibi Keita had a serious knee injury last season. It's the same knee injury that kept Apostolopoulos out for a year. So that was a gamble signing, guys. And I think he will be joining up with the B team at the beginning. Another player that I mentioned on the last podcast that I did by myself was Darbo. Darbo is expected to join the team in Austria. That's the information that I have about Darbo. So that's one that keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him because he could turn into another case of Madi Camara, Agibu Camara. I'm quite looking forward to seeing a bit more of him.
Yeah. We've heard a lot of good things so far. There's a lot of people that are excited about him. So he's one I'm excited for. I also hope we see more of Fadiga because Fadiga has been very interesting for me every time he's touched the field. There's a lot. There's a lot that we're hopeful for. Question here from Vasilis Sestos. Why do you think Martins doesn't play young Greek players? Is it because he doesn't trust them or are they just not ready? Vasily, I think it's a little bit of both. We've seen that Pedro Martins, and this has been from the outset, he's a very cynical guy, very pessimistic in the way that he coaches, very conservative, I think, especially for some people in terms of the vocabulary. He doesn't risk very much. Unless he's backed into a corner, he doesn't like to risk much at all. And he's been consistent like that since he's been here. You know, we've been frustrated since his arrival with how little he plays younger guys from the academy, and they basically have to play perfect for them to get anything going, any kind of playing time or anything from him. So that's just how he is. You know, I mean, there's players that I have been excited for, Costa has been excited for, that we see on the pitch and we see something we like, and then we never see them again. That one of the players in particular, Vasilis Solis, me more so than Costa, but I know Costa likes him too. I'm more of a super fan of midfielders. But Vasilis Solis is a player, if there's one player I had to pick from the B team that should be playing on the first team, especially given what we saw last season, it's Solis. Solis had the energy level that I thought we could have used in a midfield that was very, very much lacking. So it's a frustrating thing for all of us. But you have to remember, we all have to recognize something as Olympiacos fans, right? We sit here and we complain about two things. We first of all demand success. We demand titles. We demand success. But then on the other hand, we want to see a coach sorry, my hand wasn't in the camera. We want to see a coach take some risks, right? So if this is what we want, if we want these titles and we demand this level of success, the coach is going to do less of the risk, right? It's because it's easy for us to say and easy for us to look on paper, look at data sheets and say, oh, this happens. This player can do this. We should see this. We should see this. It's a tough thing. And it's not just Baniotti has a great comment here. Not playing younger guys is not a Martins thing. It's a club thing. This is so true. It's not just Martins. Martins has pressure on him to win. And who puts the pressure on him? Us in the club. So it's a whole culture issue, not just him.
I asked the question last time. Again, when I was going solo, I asked the question in the poll. Would fans be okay with us losing some games if it meant that we gave more playing time to young players, young Greek players. If I remember well, it was fairly tight, maybe even 62-38 in favor of giving more opportunities to Greek players. So it was above 50%, if I remember well. But again, you're absolutely spot on. Playing these young players comes with risk, and we're so kakomathimeni, like as fans, that we lose a game and like, you know, it's disaster.
Yep.
So, you know, we have to find a way, whether it's loaning them out like we did with Tsimikas and then getting them back ready and bedding them into the team. I'm not sure a player like Vasilis Urlis is going to stick around this season if he doesn't get playing time. And there have already been some rumors in the press that there is a plan to get him out, to go and get playing time somewhere. The same Binagas, there was a question about Binagas. I don't think he's going to Austria, George. George is asking the question. Binagas, if you follow him on socials as well, he was training with some guys from Larissa. He was wearing Larissa kit. That one's been mismanaged, I want to say. I don't know what's happened behind the scenes, but I actually expected him to at least be at preseason camp this year. He had a good end to the season with the B team. I don't know if he has the patience to stick it out. I don't know if it's good for him to stay with Olympiacos B in the second division for another season after being, you know, one of the most hotly tipped young players in Greece in his season with Larissa, where he scored goals against all the big teams. We picked him up and, you know, we haven't seen him. He didn't start playing with us actually until January last year because he had a falling out, or, you know, he was getting the cold shoulder from the management. So I don't know. It's a shame. It's a shame though, because he has a very different profile from the attackers that we have at the club now. Tiquinho, El Arabi, and Hassan. They're all big men. Yeah, El Arabi, granted, is more mobile than all of them, and more of a killer type centre forward. Binagas, though, we don't have a striking option like him. And we're looking at players like Aboubakar Kamara, who's, you know, decent, like in the Greek league. Those are the kinds of things that drive me a little bit crazy. I don't think the AK-47 Kamara thing is going to go through, by the way. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And we, you know, even though we talk about this, the two extremes that we as fans expect, there are things that can be done to satisfy both of those things. And there was a comment already about it. You know, when we won the league, how come we weren't playing more young players? That's one thing. There's absolutely no reason. In the cup, we let the young guys get all the way to the point, you know, that got to get us through to the cup. To as far as we got to the cup, I should say. It was their efforts that got us where we were, not the efforts of the first team guys. We looked better with some of the younger guys, and we didn't stick it out with them. It's all of these things can be done better. It's absolutely absurd. I agree with you there. There are plenty of things that we can do as a club, and we could have done as a first team that would have been at least a good happy median for that.
Yeah, just to wrap this up, I think I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think Olympiacos, as a strategy, as a team, we need to have an objective every season to produce one or two players from our academy. If not two, then one. There's one player minimum that we need to like give opportunities to build up so that we can sell in the future. That's our business model. Like, we've got to be clear. Like, look at all the players that we're trying to sign. We're not spending big money. We're looking to offload players, and we're looking to bring in like players that are having contracts that expire, that are free agents already, or players whose contracts are running out in a year, like max, so that we can negotiate. We don't have the ability to go out and risk or gamble 5 million euros like we gambled with Henry Onyekuru. last season. And that's a lesson for the club. So we really need to prioritize youth development. We hear a lot of great things that are happening in the academy. And I hope, like, knock on wood, that I hope this year we will have at least one player break through from the academy, whether it's a Greek or whether it's non-Greek, irrelevant for me at this stage, but let's bring somebody through our system. I'd like to see that.
I agree with you there, Costa. I agree with you. And guys, as we begin to wrap up here, if you haven't done so already, again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you don't do so already. The more likes, the more engagement we get, increases our position in the algorithm, and it spreads this to more red and white fans that already don't know that, or don't know that we exist, we should say. So hit that button, like, subscribe, the bell if you want to be notified when we go live, and help us continue to grow this red and white community. And before we sign off, Costa, there was a question here from Mike Scobb that just reminded me we never talked about the latest rumor just before we went live about sporting director, as it is said in Italian media. Domenico Tetti, sporting director in the past for clubs like Apoel, Hellas Verona, Sampdoria. He has been rumored by the guys over at Tutto Mercato Web, Marco Conterio, who also reported the news about Morgan De Sanctis being interviewed for sporting director. They have said that Domenico Tetti is being considered as sporting director for Olympiacos. Now, guys, there could be some differences in language and culture here with respect to what the positions actually mean. As we know, over on the side of Olympiacos, we have a couple different positions. We have a general director, which until recently was Lina Suluku, who's now been replaced by Kostas Karapapa. We have a sporting director, which is Christian Garebe. Many of you have seen that he's been off doing some advertisements and promotions for FIFA, UEFA. Francois Modesto, who is now the technical director over at Monza, was our chief scout. And then our technical director is Vasilis Torosidis. So the question is this guy actually interviewing for sporting director, or is he actually interviewing for chief scout? All we know is that the club interviewed him. Karapapa said in the news that they've interviewed dozens of people, over 20 people, I think he said, for the position, whether it's for the chief scout position or whether it's the sporting director. We'll find out if somebody actually signs, but that's what it looks like as of now. So Domenico Tetti is the latest, and he doesn't have as nice of a resume as some of the other people we've heard about, but I know a lot of people were excited about Spalletti, which I think would have been a lovely get for us to have in the front office. But, you know, we are clearly interviewing people for this role when it comes to networks and identifying talent or managing a network to get this type of talent. So before we sign off, we just wanted to make sure you guys knew about that. The club is still looking at people, and there's still going to be some changes, it looks like, in the front office. Any more on that, Costa?
No, not really, man. As long as it's not affecting our ability to go out and get players in a timely fashion, to be honest with you, at this stage, I don't really care. As long as we're able to go out and do the business. And for the moment, it looks like, you know, things are happening. And I've been told recently by people close and around the club that we do have very capable people in our scouting department, people that we don't know about. And this is also an issue of the manager knowing what he wants.
Right.
So the manager is the one that has the final call when it comes to transfers right now. And that's also something to keep into consideration when we're talking about bringing somebody in for a position like technical director, because, or whatever it is, because Torosidis is on paper technical director, but he doesn't do what a technical director does, as far as I know, like in a club like Roma or Paratici at Tottenham.
Right.
That's not what he does. So the most important thing is that we get deals done, like 2 or 3 signings, and this is kind of a perfect way to wrap up today. We've been saying it, a lot of people have been saying it in the Greek media. We need to have 2 to 3 signings in Austria to train with the team, to adapt so that we're ready on the 19th, 20th. I know we should be beating Maccabi. Nevertheless, it's going to be a tough game. Like we're up against a team that's played together for a few years now, a team that's made up of players that play together in the Israel national team. And what we saw last season at Olympiacos, that wasn't a team. So we need to put a team together. In the next month, we play them in a month's time. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right, Gustav. Everything you said, you're right. Well, as the news comes in and more developments happen, we'll keep you guys updated as we get the information. We have our feelers out there everywhere. So we'll try to keep everyone updated as best we can. Don't forget, after the stream ends in about 20 minutes, Olympiacos DC is about to kick off their quarterfinal match. So if you want to see how they're doing, if you want to support them, the stream will be right here on our YouTube channel. You can check it out here. If you are starved of football, you want to watch something, they'll be on here. The boys are motivated, and they're playing some pretty decent football this year as well. So don't forget to give them a nice watch and support them. We love Olympiacos no matter what country they're in, no matter what competition they're playing in. We support the red and white wherever they are. Gus, anything else, buddy, before we close up here?
No, just to make it clear that you can watch that Olympiacos DC game on our channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And going forward, hopefully there's more that you can watch on this channel. Anyway, this is Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans. Don't forget to keep your eyes out for the latest for the award show. This is going to be a very special award show. It's already been made special by your contribution to it, your votes. 10,000 of them. Absurd. This is going to be an amazing award show. We're so excited. Keep an eye out for that. And until next time, this is Gate 7 International. Mágica,